Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Marketing in the Virtual Marketplace.
Hello, good day.
I hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday. Let's start today by going out to the classroom. I think. There we go. That's a little better. All right, this is marketing in the virtual marketplace. And this is week 3. We are going to talk about digital advertising today. One of my favorite subjects, actually. Advertising is always fun to discuss. This week you do have 2 assignments. I have graded, by the way, anybody who had who has turned in your Unit 1s and Unit 2s, IP assignments and discussion boards. All of that should be up to date as of a couple of hours ago. If you haven't had a chance to do that yet, make sure you get your assignments in. This is definitely not the class that you want to wait until the last minute to go to and finish. So this week, your discussion board, we're talking about advertising in both the discussion board and the individual project this week. From a discussion board standpoint, as a consumer, you're exposed to advertising pretty much all the time when you're online. So in this unit, we're going to learn about the various types of digital advertising. And yes, it does include social media, but it includes so much more than social media. And we actually have an entire section dedicated to social media next week. So as you do your discussion board this week, I'd really like you to think about, could you use a different digital advertising method? But if you do use social media, you need to talk about what method they are using, not just the fact that it was on Facebook or Instagram. So we are going to learn about various types of digital advertising today. Social media, paid search, other online advertising methods like native advertising, remarketing or retargeting, display, video advertisements. When we think about digital advertising, it is really, truly very unique because it is very good at targeting people and talking directly to the people that they want to talk to, who are interested in the product. So we target those ads better. In this assignment, I want you to think about an advertisement that you saw online that caught your interest. You don't necessarily have to have purchased the product, just that caught your interest. Address the following. What type of digital advertising method did it use? So was it native, remarketing, retargeting, display, video? What made it effective at getting your attention? Why did you look at it? What about it caught your attention? And which online advertising method do you believe is the best for getting potential customers to notice and respond to a product? So in this particular assignment, I do want to say again, if you choose to say, I was scrolling through Facebook and an ad caught my attention, you need to list what kind of an ad. Was it a native advertising? Was it remarketing or retargeting? Was it a video advertisement? Did it use an influencer? So be very robust in your response from that perspective. If you just write, I was on Facebook and I saw an ad about new socks. um, that's not going to be enough data. And I'm going to ask you that question when I respond to your discussion board. So think about it more robustly. And then please don't forget your 2 peer responses. This class has been actually quite good at responding to your peers, so keep up that good work. The grading rubric for this assignment is the same as every other discussion board assignment. I'm looking to make sure you understand the material. So when you're describing the ad, are you explaining what it is? What kind of advertisement technique is it using? Are you adding in your own personal thoughts? Do you have personal perspective in the post? Can I clearly see your voice? Did you respond to 2 peers? Is it organized? Did you proofread? APA formatting is not required in your discussion board. They only require those in your individual project. So this individual project, guess what? It's the same as it's been. Still that same template you've been using. By now, you should be very good at it. I do not put a different template on the announcements. I think actually the assignments get a little bit easier for you for unit 3, 4, and 5. Again, though, you are working with a small business, so don't forget your small business and to incorporate that small business. While working with clients on an advertising campaign, it is important to offer them options and find out which method works best for their business. For this project, you must choose a business or product, real or hypothetical. Again, you can use the same one you've been using, stick with a small business, and create an integrated digital campaign that incorporates the different options available to online advertisers. Address the following. Describe the various types of online advertising for the client. Explain the strengths and weaknesses of each online advertising method that you described. Describe how the client could target potential customers using different online advertising methods. Why should a company utilize a variety of online advertising methods? And then, of course, you'll have your introduction and your conclusion. You should ground this paper in research. We'll come back to this in 1 second, but speaking of research, your reading for this week is chapters 11 and 13 in your online textbook. We have a ton of videos and articles here for you. 7 types of online advertising, core concepts of paid search marketing, online ads dictionary, a digital advertising muse that has several aspects to it, how you select a target market, strategic approach to a market. You'll find it very helpful, and these are great resources for your papers. The other thing I will mention to you is the library at CTU is quite robust, and the librarians are incredibly helpful. If you are looking for something a little different, or you want to find some other relevant articles, you don't just have Google available to you. You can email the librarian and they will send you back a list of articles and links to those articles that you are eligible to use as a student. So think about that as well. So when I grade this assignment, I am going to look to see, did you list and describe the types of online advertising methods that are available? I want to caution you here. This part of this assignment, it's very tempting to Google types of different online advertising methods and to copy and paste what the Google AI or you get back. I'm going to encourage you not to do that. Make sure you are using your voice in this section as well. You don't have to list all of the online advertising methods available, but you do need a robust selection, and you should think of your business as you do this. We advertise different businesses in different ways. It is very different how we might advertise a local small cookie bakery from a shipping and packaging company, right? Very different target markets, very different advertising methods and where we're going to be advertising. I will be looking to see the strengths and weaknesses. This is another great opportunity to incorporate your business. You can talk about why one particular advertising method is a great uh, strength opportunity for you, and why maybe there's a weakness in it, so you have to run it with a different type of advertising. You are going to talk about how the different customer markets vary amongst the online advertising methods. Specifically here, what you'll get into is who is utilizing the different types of media that's out there. For example, display advertising, which is often found on someone's website, right? You have websites that target different groups of people. That display advertising is going to be very different uh, based on who they're targeting. You have the section about why companies should use multiple methods of online advertising, and we're going to get into that in a minute. And then, of course, your grammar. Don't forget your references here. In your discussion board, it lists for you several types of online advertising. It's fine with me if you stick with those. There are definitely a few that they have not listed. Okay. I did post some stories and articles here for you in the last week. I did do the Google design elements like I told you I would after class. A user experience article that should have helped you with your unit 2. Some great brand stories. I also post these articles in my introductory level class. They're definitely worthwhile. And you have a welcome to this week. You're going to see a couple other an article about features, and benefits that will pop up. I have an article that I'm going to post for you tomorrow that is about the different types of online advertising that should be pretty helpful as you're writing your paper. I think that is it for this. So let's go out to my presentation. I am going to show you some examples of different types of online advertising before we end today. I have them up on a couple of different pages for you. All right, come on, get this out of the way. Okay, so I have shared this marketing management process with you in every class, and I will continue to share it with you throughout every class going forward. And the reason is because every topic that we touch on touches on a different part of this process. To remind you of the process is it's a 4-step process: the marketing analysis, marketing planning, implementation, and control. The analysis section is where we do all of our research. We identify our target markets. We understand our SWOT analysis, our pestle analysis, our environmental scan, and we kind of develop our value proposition or our relevant differentiated benefit here. And then we move into the planning phase, of course, starting with what are you trying to accomplish? What is the organization's overall strategic goals? From a marketing department, what do we want to accomplish? And then we develop our plan. And in our plan, we include our pricing P, our distribution strategy, and our promotion P, which is what we're talking about today. This is our advertising, our sales promotion, our sponsorships, anything that we use to communicate our relevant differentiated benefit out comes here in the promotion P. This is also where we build our creative strategy, and we we go out and we execute the messaging, and where we start to begin to buy our media. The implementation process is where we actually run. We run the media that we have created, and we are monitoring it. We have a level of control at the same time. The better job we do in our analysis, the less changing and tweaking we'll have to do in our control. The good news about digital advertising is when you do have to do tweaking and changing and taking corrective action, it's a lot easier and faster than with traditional advertising. So I don't really know the various levels in the class of who's had intro to marketing or not. Jeremy, you'll see this again next week, actually, some of this. I want to kind of talk briefly about how we look at media from a big picture standpoint. So in the industry itself, we refer to media as traditional and new media. And even though new media has been around for 20 plus years, we still refer to it as new media. So traditional media is television, radio, newspaper, out of home, which is like billboards, stadium advertising, what you see at the airport, the train station, the wrap on the bus. That's all considered out of home. It takes place out of your home. Magazine advertising, event marketing, trade shows, auto shows, sponsorships, concerts, things like that are all fall under event marketing. We have a category we refer to as earned media. And earned media is media we don't pay for. So public relations, organic social media falls in here. So what do I mean by that? That's like if I go out and I buy a sweater. I think I used the sweater conversation last week, but let's say I bought a sweater. I take a picture of myself in the sweater and I put it on my Facebook page and I say, oh my God, look at this incredible, cool sweater I bought today at so-and-so store. And then I share that with all my friends. Well, that's organic. They didn't pay me to do that. I'm not earning anything by doing that. I'm just sharing with my friends this incredibly cool sweater that I got. But that still is a form of advertising for that company, even though they didn't pay for it. That's why we put it under earned media. So you want to be really careful when you talk about social media because there are those two different categories, paid for and earned. New media is anything that has to do with the internet, essentially. So your internet search, which we've talked about in class before, your banner display advertising, that's been around for a while. This is the advertising you see on a website. So if I go to Ford.com and I see ads for popping up for other companies, that's banner advertising. Interactive, this is social media, anything that I interact with the other people on would be considered interactive. And we do have an entire section on social media next week, which is why I don't spend a lot of time talking about it now. And then product placement. Product placement's been around for a long time, but when I talk about product placement today, I also mean virtual reality, not just, a television show that shows a product or a movie that uses a product, but there is a considerable product presence in video games, virtual reality, those types of things today. When we talk about new media, we are talking about all things digital, right? Anything that has the internet on it. So to get really specific for you, paid search, you're familiar with search engine optimization. You know what paid search is. Native advertising is pretty new to people, but it actually has been around from a non-digital standpoint for quite a while. But it is a paid advertising that's designed to resemble the content of an ad or the content of the platform where the ad appears. So it blends in with the surrounding. Uh, so the user doesn't know that they're being advertised to. This actually started in magazine, right? Years and years and years ago, magazines would, and you might even see a little notice in the ad on the magazine that says it's an advertorial. It's a similar idea, right? The ad looks like it's part of um, whatever platform you're on. So nowadays, you see this a lot on online websites, especially newspaper websites, blogs, podcasts. You will see it in social media. Um, I will show you a couple examples of native advertising before we go today. It is actually a very effective form of advertising because there is a lot of research. I think I just said this in my last class, but there is a lot of research that says people are more susceptible to advertising and what your messaging is when they are relaxed or enjoying themselves. So if you can build your product or service into something that someone is utilizing or reading or participating in, you are automatically um, getting an advantage from that because people do like to they feel good about the products and services that they fondly remember from good times in their lives, even if it's subconscious. So display advertising is an online advertisement that uses visual elements like text, images, animations, videos to promote a product or service. It often is referred to as banner advertising. They're usually placed on websites, but can be social media platforms, even mobile apps. The whole attention is to grab your attention and to get you to click on it or to visit the website or to make a purchase right that then and there. Not to be confused with remarketing or um, retargeting ads. Um, so remarketing or retargeting is a technique that allows a business to display an ad that a user has previously interacted with their website or their brand in some other way. So let's say I go to American Airlines website today and I'm just looking at some flights. Well, it is highly likely that tomorrow I'm going to get an American Airlines ad on my phone in some way. The idea is you didn't complete an action or a purchase on my site, so I want to come back and encourage you to do so. And that is really what cookies are about. You probably have seen lately, you've been asked to reaffirm or understand that a company is using a cookie. Um, the laws about cookies changed recently on when you can and can't use them as a marketer. So that's why you have to re-click on them. Just so you know, a cookie is it's like a text file that's in a user's device by a website, right? So we can track your online activity. It's like building a digital footprint for every person. Um, they are extremely prevalent, and every company has a digital footprint of you. You can bet on it. So the different types of cookies that are out there, like a first party cookie is the website the user is visiting. Um, we will store your logon details, your shopping cart, your language preferences, all of those kinds of things. It's considered a first party cookie. A third party cookie is usually set by a domain that's um, other than the website the user is visiting, and you are then being tracked from an advertising standpoint across multiple websites. That tracking allows us to then feed up personalized ads based off of your online behavior. And that is how remarketing and retargeting actually works, by utilizing those cookies. So video advertising is pretty self-explanatory. It is the modern day version of the commercial. Um, Video advertising is extremely popular. It is usually it is used a lot in your display advertising. It is used a lot in remarketing and retargeting on social media, especially. Social media advertising, these are your traditional Facebook, Instagram type ads, right? Now, you have a medium that you use when you do advertise on Facebook. You're not just putting up words. You're usually using some kind of a video or a remarketing, retargeting strategy. You might even be using a native advertising strategy. And then, of course, the tried and true email marketing that has been around for a long time and is an incredibly effective way to talk to your loyal customers and potential loyal customers. And I'm sure today you are all being targeted by email marketing. I have no doubt in my mind. So I want to talk for a few minutes about what makes great advertising. And as someone who has worked in advertising for 25 years, I can tell you I know a little bit about what makes great advertising. And I've seen a lot of great campaigns and a lot of really bad campaigns. So the first thing every good advertiser needs to know is you need to have an emotional response. Think back in your memory. The memories that you have in your life have an emotion tied to them. That is what creates recall in your brain. So I'm not talking about remembering what you had for breakfast yesterday, which I probably can't do, but I'm talking about, moments in your life. Like I can remember taking Haley to her first day of school. And there's an emotion attached to that. And that's why you remember that. I remember her college graduation, right? That kind of thing. Great advertisers understand that you do need a clear, relevant, differentiated benefit. You have to use your advertising to communicate how you are solving the want, need, and desire of the consumer, or you are wasting your money. Great advertisers know that message and what it is they want to convey. And they also know that people like to be told what to do. You may not like me to say this to you right now, but the truth is you do like to be told what to do. So you need a call to action. What do we want the customer to do? Come into the store, visit our website, make a purchase. What is it we want them to do? So we use in marketing our segmentation techniques to kind of design and determine what emotional response we're going to have in our advertising, how we're going to communicate that relevant differentiated benefit, and what kinds of call to actions we need with who is using it. So what is segmentation? I just talked about this in my intro to marketing class, and you have already learned a little bit about this because you talked about segments in both papers 1 and 2. But a segment is a group of people that share a similar set of wants, needs, and desires, and then designing and implementing a strategy that talks directly to that group of people. So when we segment our markets as a marketer, when we determine who are we talking to, some of the things that we want to think about: is our segment measurable? Do they have enough buying power to help us reach our goals? Can we be profitable using that particular group of individuals as a target market? The most attractive group of people should be the largest group of people that have similar characteristics to each other, but will react to your relevant, differentiated benefit, whose wants, needs, and desires that you solve. You can't solve everybody's wants, needs, and desires, right? You have to have some kind of a target market so you know who to talk to. And that group of people has to be accessible, right? You need to be able to actually reach them in your marketing and advertising efforts. So they should be different than the other segments or than the people that your competition might be going after. So you can make those actionable marketing strategies that talk directly to them. So the ways we segment a market: geographic segmentation, which is exactly what it sounds like. Where are you? What is the population density? I use this example. I use this same slide in my intro class. It is it's about the type of products that you're selling and where those products are. But when you think about geographic segmentation from a digital standpoint, you really do want to remember the power that the digital world has, right? Geography isn't as relevant all the time when you think about the digital marketplace, but in some ways it becomes more relevant, especially if you're thinking about search engine optimization, if you're doing any geo-targeting or anything like that. Demographic segment is the most important way we segment our market. It is human characteristics, age, income, education, social class. These are usually quantifiable, statistical in nature. Psychographic segmentation is also very important, not quite as important as demographic, but usually we use our psychographic information to help us determine that tonality in the ad. But this is also about lifestyle, personality, belief systems. What do people enjoy doing? This gets back to what I was talking about earlier about how people are more susceptible to advertising when they're having a good time. This plays a role there. And then your behavioral segmentation. Sorry. From a digital standpoint, behavioral segmentation plays a really big role, because if it wasn't for behavioral, the way we segment the market behaviorally, we wouldn't really have things like influencers and celebrities and people who endorse products and make a difference because of the way the medium is set up. Now, I'm going to share with you next week some statistical information about who's using what from a social media standpoint. And you'll probably be a little surprised by some of them, but that really gets to this behavioral segmentation. So after we understand who our target market is, we then have to understand what their wants, needs, and desires are, and we need to design advertising that talks directly to them where they are using media. And this does not change whether we are using a traditional strategy or a digital strategy. It is exactly the same. So if I go back here to where we're talking about different types of digital advertising, right? And I think about how do these segments use these different types of advertising, which is one of the things you have to address in your paper. You are going to find some significant research about who video advertising resonates with, what their demographic makeup is, who display advertising resonates with, who is more likely to use a paid search. You'll find some articles in the resources that do talk directly about that. So I wanted to give you a couple of examples. Bear with me here. So I found some native advertising that I wanted to show you on this lovely website that actually offers a whole entire advertising course in native advertising. But they have some great examples here in ads that campaigns that have integrated themselves in to the platform. So it doesn't really seem like you're being advertised to. You think it's just natural content, right? Um, if it looks like it's part of the content, people don't feel like someone is pressuring them to make a purchase or to be involved with a product or service. So it actually is very effective. Uh, you have an example here of a fashion company that has worked their ad into like MSN, for example, and it looks like it's part of the content, a part of an article. I don't know if you have ever gone to like an used your phone to get to like a news outlet. So let's say if you Googled CNN.com, I'm pretty sure CNN does this, right? If you went to CNN.com and you start scrolling on your phone, you are going to find a combination of articles and native advertising here. Uh, that the native advertising is going to have a headline that makes you want to click on it like it's an article. And it'll be a while before you figure out that it's a paid advertisement. And that's what they are essentially doing here. Like this beauty native advertising campaign. And they also then use things in order to get you to click on them to generate backlinks to their website, right? Like they might have a questionnaire. What's your makeup routine? What's your skincare routine? And it drives you back to their website where they really do then look to sell you something, right? Um, Pretty interesting. Grammarly has a great ad out. Um, but you can kind of get the idea here from looking at some of these images, how the market, how the native ad is really working. All right, stop sharing that for a moment. Bear with me here. I wanted to get you some good display ad. So I'm going to pick a website, see if I can't get a good display ad to come up. Okay, let me see if I can share this. We'll go to my own company here. Not the company I own, the company I work for. There we go. So Ford is running right now the employee pricing for everyone. When I went to the website originally, the cookies did pop up, by the way, to ask me, um, you know, is it okay if we follow you? Now, if I go to another website because I said okay, it is going to pop up a Ford ad on that other website. Now, Ford pays a lot of money for other advertisers to actually not appear. Uh, so you'll see, but you will see they do it themselves with like their own banner advertising, employee pricing for everyone. Um, you pay what we pay. This is an advertisement that they paid for, right? And so this is a similar kind of an example of um of what a display ad might look like. Let's see. Uh, Let me see if I can give you some really good examples. Um, all right. So when I look at examples here. You can see this is a display ad that would pop up in this website. So they're giving you some kind of visual examples. The thing about display ads is that they are supposed to link back to a website. Sometimes they link back to a microsite, and sometimes they link back to the actual website themselves. But these are all examples of what a display ad might look like. And then you would have some that might even play videos for you. Now, most of you probably scroll through your social media, your YouTube. When you go through YouTube, for example, which is the most popular form of social media, by the way, we'll learn a little bit more about that next week. But when you go there and you see an ad, it is almost always a video in YouTube, right? And that advertisement is considered a video advertisement. So let's say in your discussion board, you say, I was watching a YouTube video about training dogs, and a video advertisement broke in about a dog food brand. That's considered a video advertisement, even though it's on a social media platform. So what kinds of questions can I answer for you about digital advertising, or even about your assignments this week? I'm going to assume that you guys are all going to be good with your paper and assignment. I have given you several types of advertising to think about. Each of them do have strengths and weaknesses. You can get a list of those strengths and weaknesses in your resources. It will actually give you a list, and then you can cite that in your paper. When we think about targeting potential customers using the different online advertising methods, I want you to think about, from a small business standpoint, they have a limited budget. They probably aren't going to do much native advertising, maybe a little bit, but they're going to focus more on retargeting, remarketing, and they're going to purchase that media through Facebook itself, or through a conduit like a Hootsuite, which we'll talk about next week when we talk about social media as well. The last topic I want to talk about real quick is why you need a variety of online advertising. And the truth is, you need a variety of advertising in general. It doesn't matter if it's traditional or new media. So when you're in kindergarten or preschool and you're learning how to read, do you remember a saying, see it, say it, hear it? We are multisensory people, right? Human beings. We're multisensory. We need multisensory to recall something, to understand something. Some of us learn visually. Some of us learn by having it told to us. Some of us need a combination. We're all kind of predisposed to one of those things. And advertising works like that. Think about see it, say it, hear it. You need multiple advertising methods. And there are some pitfalls that companies will fall into. And the number one pitfall is they only advertise online. The number one reason new businesses fail is because they only advertise online. That's not a big enough sensory difference for a consumer base today. You need to have those multiple touch points. And there is a common misconception that online advertising is the best advertising you can do. Unfortunately, that is not true. Believe it or not, television is still advertising, the king of advertising. More people still watch television than watch or are online. Now, usually when people are watching television, they have a device in their hand. I think the statistic is like 86% of people who are watching television have some kind of secondary device in their hand. And often what they might see on television will become what they are Googling or looking up on their phone, right? But that is how people consume media. You can't be a small business and think I can only do one thing. I need to do more than one thing in order to make an adequate impact in the marketplace. And that is generally why a company should utilize a variety of any advertising methods, not just online. You need that multi-sensory approach. All right. Are there any other questions? Anything that I can, it's a quiet group tonight. Have a little fun with this assignment and your business. And if you don't have any questions, I will give you back 15 minutes of your lives. It has been a long day of storms, and I'm very glad there are no storms anymore tonight. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the live chat this evening. I will give you your extra credit on Sunday when I grade your discussion boards. Thank you for your attention in class. I really do appreciate it. If you need anything between now and the next class, please reach out to me. I am here to help you if I can, and I will. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a great evening.